Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the American Lighting Association Women in Lighting Pecha Kucha event. We are so excited to have you here today to share in an afternoon of inspiration, storytelling, and connection. Before I start, we want to thank our sponsors, the Dallas Market Center and Ferguson Home, for sponsoring this event. I'd like to start by shining a light on one of our proudest milestones as an organization, our philanthropy committee. And we are very pleased to announce that we've had our very first sponsorship through our scholarship philanthropy initiative. This year, we're able to sponsor Liz, who's right here in front. Say hi, Liz. To the ALA conference. This is her first time, so make her feel welcome. And this is what our mission is all about, creating opportunities and opening doors for the next generation of leaders in our industry. If you would like to apply for a scholarship to attend conference or for any of our educational opportunities that ALA offers, please visit our Women in Lighting page on the ALA website or visit our Women in Lighting Facebook page. And speaking of opportunities, I want to recognize our mentorship committee. Mentoring is at the heart of what we do. It bridges generations, it creates a sense of belonging and equity, and opens pathways to growth and leadership. If you haven't yet signed up for one of our mentorship groups, you can register for our next session, which will begin in March of 2026. We're having such great success with these large group formats, and we'd really hope all of you will take advantage and join us. You will not only help shape someone else's journey, but you will also gain valuable connections and insights on your own. And before we jump into our program, one quick reminder, please scan the QR code that you see around the room to nominate our next Women in Lighting Leadership Award winner. This award will be presented in June during Light Ovation. So thank you all for being here today and for being such an important part of this community. The men and women that are in this room just give us such great joy, and we just thank you for all of your support along the way. Let's celebrate our shared passion, support one another, and enjoy the amazing stories we're about to hear. So without further ado, Michelle, would you please tell us about Pecha Kucha?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us in our Women in Lighting Pecha Kucha event. Pecha Kucha is chit-chat in Japanese. It is a very rapid-style form of presentation. Each presentation will comprise of 20 slides. Each of these slides is timed for 20 seconds, equaling 6 minutes and 40 seconds. This condensed format is certainly focused and to the point, enjoy for us, and a lot of pressure for our presenters. So give them some latitude. Presenters were chosen for their leadership, expertise, and genuine passion for the lighting industry. Each of them put a great deal of thought and effort into their presentations, carefully crafting the visuals, the timing, and the messages to deliver something truly impactful. Our first speaker started out in the industry in customer service, where I'm sure she quickly learned a smile and a solution brightened up the room a lot more than 1,000 lumen lamp. She is not only an inspirational leader in the lighting community, she is also a passionate force in the American Lighting Association, not just because she believes in the mission, but because she loves the people. And looking around, I can certainly see why. Before we bring her up, I need everybody to help me out with something. Can you look around the room, check under the table, in your bags, your pockets, and make sure we don't have any celery in this room. Seriously, she can't stand it. It is her kryptonite, and I would hate for anything to get in her way of her presentation. If everybody can help me give a warm welcome to Cathy Choi.
All right, everyone. All kidding aside, celery. The irony is that I'm wearing green, and celery is my nemesis. So go figure. Now you all know my secret. Don't tell my enemies out there. So Pecha Kucha was a challenge for us. Maybe fun for you guys, but 20 seconds is a very short period of time. What I wanted to share with you is the greatest lesson that I've learned in the 25 years I've been doing this is to not to go it alone. And that's really tough to do as a leader in an industry. So I thought I'd start with a quote to make sure all of you are awake from either coffee or drinks or whatever it may be. But it's so important to spend time and surround yourself with people that lift you higher. There could be a lot of negativity and people around you that bring you down. So I encourage all of you to be very selective about how you spend your time and who you spend it with. This one I learned when I joined Vistage, which I'll speak about a little bit later, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. I want you to think about that for a second. Think about the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. You are the average of that. So my goal always is to surround myself with people who lift me up and who I can learn from. And last but not least, like leadership has so many different meanings, but for me, it's about inspiring others to achieve their personal best. And I feel like my role in the industry with my company, with my kids, is to serve other people and to help lift them up. So that's why I'm here, and it's a privilege to be here today. Somehow I drew the short straw and I'm going first. So I started in the business, my family business, about 25 years ago. And what my plan was that, I'd get on a bike, somewhat hard, maybe some hills here and there, and eventually hit my goal, my target, whatever that may be. But the reality is there's been a lot of peaks and valleys, and this year certainly has proven to be very challenging with everything that's going on in the economy. But whenever I was stuck, I had people on speed dial. And for those of you that are around my age, you know what that is. It's a telephone that we used to use at work. And on the right side, where the whites are, were like little speed dials. So you would call Laura if you had a problem about this, and you would call Kelly if you had a problem about that. But over the years, the people on my speed dial have changed. And so what I quickly realized was as I grew in my leadership role and also in influence outside the industry and inside the industry, I had to remember that what got me from point A to point B wasn't going to be what got me from point B to point C. So my personal board that I started to build has changed over the years, and I'll share some of that with you. So when you get stuck, it's easy to sort of hunker down and bury your head in the sand. We heard a little bit about that today, and I'm an eternal optimist. So I always ask myself, what can I do next to help me through this next stage? I'll just share with you personally. I'm not wearing my lanyard, that I was wearing before, that had a little yellow or maize and blue. Go Palmer, Laurie. Sorry, John Malachi. But I'm going through a change in my life. I just became an empty nester about 2 weeks ago. So it's a challenging time for me. It's a new stage in life. So I've developed a personal board over the years, and it's no different than the Board of Governors at ALA. It's a group of people who guide, who challenge, and support. When you think about putting together a personal board, there's 4 C's to keep in mind. So the first one is clarifiers. There's a bunch of people, those people that if you ask them a question, they answer with another question, those really annoying people. By the way, I'm one of those people. I think that's an important role. Another one is a connector, someone who knows a lot of people that can connect you with the solutions. The other 2 C's are challengers. Those are the people that push you no matter what's going on. They're the ones that keep saying, you can keep doing it, do better. And certainly coaches. I have a lot of my coaches here on the stage that I've learned on from over the years, and a lot of you that I've leaned on throughout my career. I learn from everyone that I meet. There's no one that I have not met that I've learned something from, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. So if you're interested in starting a personal board, I would say 3 rules. 1 is the job of a personal board member isn't to make you feel better. So mama is probably not going to be on your personal board because she's going to tell you you're great no matter what. Find the people that make you better. Number 2 is you can do it personal or professional. I'll share with you some of my personal board members. And last but not least, don't default to just friends for the same reason that you wouldn't have your mom on your board. So my first board that I had was when I became president at Bulbrite, and I learned about Vistage through some colleagues here. Nathan, I know Rick Seidman, there's some members here who have used Vistage. That was really important to me. And Chief is an all-women's version of Vistage. That has been really helpful for me to develop my leadership skills on that front. So currently, I have 4 coaches. The 2 on the left are my professional coaches, and the 2 on the right are my personal coaches. So the woman on the right, Jill, is my yoga teacher. I mean, she's on my personal board. She helps me keep grounded. So personal board members really can come from all facets of life. The other 2 members on my current personal board are these 2 ladies that I met through Chief. And they're the ones that keep asking questions when you ask a question. And it's, again, so frustrating, but they push me to be better. So that's a really critical role for me in clarifying. My next and last board member is someone I've known for 15 years. He's literally the most annoying human being I've met in my entire life. And he would kill me for saying this. His name is Jeff, by the way. But he's the challenger. He will never take no. He'll be like, Cathy, that's a low ball answer. Move the target harder. You know you can do better. So I think it's important to have those people that will challenge you and push you on your personal board. So I would highly suggest that. I'm sure he's available to be your challenger as well. So I would say if you're interested in developing a personal board, 3 questions to ask yourself, like what stage are you in? What's important to you personally for the next couple of years? And given that, which of the 4 C's do you need? And then is there anyone in this room that you may or may not know that could serve on your personal board? We're all here to support each other. And I'm sure there are people in this room that would be honored and thrilled to be on your personal board. So my request of all of you guys is as you go through your different stages in life and career, if you're interested in developing a personal board, start today. Find somebody that will hold you accountable. Make a list of some people that you think could be a coach, a challenger, a clarifier. And I'm happy to support you in that endeavor. And I'll leave you with this one note. We're in the business of spreading beautiful light. We make lighting. It is such an honor to, just think about the product that we're making. So our job is to spread light. So be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. I'm happy to be of service to any of you. And I'm sure there are many candles and mirrors here. So I encourage you, don't do it alone. Get that personal board. And I'm happy to be of service to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cathy. As I look around this room, I see many of my own personal board members, and some of you have been on it for longer than others. And I just feel so blessed that all of you are on my speed dial as well. So now I am honored and proud to introduce one of my longest running board members. Martha Graham proves that sometimes the best career prep comes from unexpected places. Martha's first job was in customer service at General Motors, which gave her the perfect toolkit to handle just about any situation as an independent rep. If you know Martha, you know she has a very hard time saying no to her friends, which is exactly how we talked her into being here today. She couldn't say no, and we are so appreciative of that. And while she may be afraid of heights, that hasn't stopped her from facing her fears head on, whether it's skydiving, bungee jumping, or taking on every roller coaster she can find. Please join me in welcoming the fearless, the fun, and the ever-resourceful Martha Graham.
Actually, she forgot to mention that I have a fear of public speaking. So, life-changing situations are often beyond our control. What matters is how you manage them, because that's what shapes your life. I've been fired 5 times, and each experience has changed me. This is the story of how I became who I am today. That's not a typo. I've been fired 5 life-changing times. Yes, 5. Being fired isn't unusual for lighting reps. We often work on 30-day contracts. For me, being fired started before I became a rep. It became the theme that shaped my entire career. Fresh out of college, eager and clueless, I thought I was invincible until I wasn't. I landed at a large corporation, what I thought would be the big career job. Instead, it became my first hard fall. I was 23, living in Washington, D.C. The first firing felt like a punch to the gut. They took the company car, the housing stipend. I moved out in the middle of the night from an apartment, carrying shame and disbelief. Turns out I wasn't as brilliant as I thought. I moved back home to rural Michigan, cleaning houses just to make ends meet. Student loans, car payments, debt. It was humbling and it hurt. But that ego check was my first real lesson. After a year of recession in Michigan, I took off for Florida. I lived with my brother and worked for his contracting company. I lived with my brother, it wasn't glamorous, but it gave me skills and money. That's what I needed. And it gave me hope with a future and a career. Then I was fired again. My own brother had to let me go. This time it wasn't personal. It was the economy, either him or me. It was painful for our family, but we remained close. He helped me through, and those skills I learned became the first real lines on my resume. Career? What career? I felt completely lost. It was a recession. I mailed out letters, went to interview after interview, kept hearing no, no. It was a season of wandering, of asking what I really wanted, and if I'd ever find my path. Networking is how I got into lighting. My mom knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who gave me a chance. That job led to another. Eventually, I was offered the chance to become the Kichler sales agent. Sometimes it's God's plan, and you don't even see it's happening. It was cool. And then I was fired from Kichler. I remember saying, I thought we were friends. Sometimes people angle for what you built. I chose not to be jaded. With a close friend's support, I learned forgiveness and began planning for the future. Really planning. Savoy House was small. It was almost a miracle. I was their third and fourth sales agent. We grew together and I thrived. Great people, good energy. The economy was booming. Everyone was making money. And for a while, life was fun. Making a lot of money. Good fun. Don't assume friendship protects you from being fired. Sometimes you'll never know why. Losing Savoy House was devastating. Financially, it gutted me. It was the perfect storm. Personal loss, financial loss, the worst of the worst. We had no choice but to dig out. With just a little bit of gas money, we visited every retailer and specifier. My team stayed loyal. Our customers stood by us. Together, we rebuilt around our other lines. Step by step, we kept moving forward. COVID in Florida wasn't as restricted. We still made sales calls. Specifiers reached out by Zoom and email. But my personal life took a sharp turn. I lost my husband of 28 years, and then my cousin was my best friend, Karen. My team rallied, carrying me through one of life's darkest seasons. With the most recent firing, sales were up 25%, and still I was let go. No clear reason. Too old? Something else? After 24 years of brand building, it felt like a divorce. Someone else kept the house and all the furnishings I had chosen. I learned not to let manufacturers define me. The last firing is a forced slowdown. 60% of our time for only 15% of our income. Painful then, but freeing now. I finally had my time back for myself and for my business. Each firing gave me a sharper sense of self and self-worth. Failure wasn't the end. Each time I was fired, it became the beginning of something better. It fueled determination, and I never let it diminish me. Instead, I used it to grow. Is there really a perfect career path? For me, it wasn't a ladder. Success looked more like detours and setbacks, 5 firings, each one a breakthrough in disguise. I came to believe God had a plan even when I couldn't see it. Each setback carried me forward. I know my worth. I'm not bulletproof. I'm grounded. Not perfect, but I'm aligned with myself. I spend more time in my business, not just on it. I care for my elderly parents, take real vacations, live without the constant fear of being fired from that last company. Martha Stewart went to jail. She lost her company, her net worth, her reputation, but she didn't stop. Today, she is a billionaire, partnering with major brands. We all fall. The real question is, what will you build with what broke you? Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, Martha. I know it's a very personal story of your career journey and truly appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability. You're like a phoenix rising. Our next speaker brings energy, insight, and a love for the industry that is truly contagious. She got her start as a marketing assistant and has been building momentum ever since. She is passionate about the work that ALA does because she believes, and rightfully so, that we need to stick together if we want our industry to thrive. When she's not championing our industry, you just might find her dancing to some classic Motown hits because she loves to dance. Please help me welcome Laurie Gross.
Before you start the slides, so my story is, I'm going to break up before I talk. Okay, I'll get it out. It's personal to me, and it's very female-oriented, but I think the lessons I'm going to talk about will work for all the guys in the audience, too, as men are more involved in families and all the rest. I think that hopefully you'll get lessons, too, but I didn't want you to feel that it was just for women, okay? So, wait, I'm not ready. Okay, now I'm ready. Maybe. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is how important it is for you to live your dream. That isn't my slide. That's my slide. Thank you. Okay, so it's really important for you to live your dream. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. It may take a while, but don't ever give up on it. We've all had those people who say, no, don't do it. Don't take that chance. Don't try something. But if you truly have a dream, you have to try. I mean, after all, Wile E. Coyote has never given up on the Roadrunner. So if you don't try, you'll never know if you can accomplish it. But there's so many choices today, so many directions that you can go in. So what happens if you don't know what your dream is? There's so much opportunity. Sometimes it may be hard to know what the right direction is to go. My original dream, I can remember exactly where I was when I had it, on the University of Michigan campus, thank you very much. Boy, that's going to be an ongoing joke for the whole rest of the night. It was my sophomore year in college. I was standing where that purple X is, and I thought, you know what? I want to get married and I want to have kids. That was it. That was my whole dream. You'll notice there's no career in that dream anywhere, right? Just who knew? Well, my dad knew, and he offered me a job even though I never wanted to get in the industry, never wanted to come in the business. But he put me in sales. I was bored to death doing office work, switchboard operator, marketing, job quoting, everything you can imagine. And so he said, here, why don't you try sales? And I love sales. I love lighting. And I got a new dream, but I knew nothing about either of them. I was a college grad, but this was not something they taught me in journalism school. And so I had to learn how to learn. And I'm still learning today. My first day, they moved me up to our Ann Arbor store. And my first day, I slept in. I had no idea that I had the only key and that everybody was standing outside waiting for me. Okay, so I had to learn how to manage people. I took catalogs home. I had to learn about lighting. But it was great, and it's still a great industry. But guess what? Sometimes you have to modify your dream to deal with your realities. Loved working, loved sales, loved lighting, no guy, still want kids. How am I going to handle that, right? The reality is there's no guy in my life. I moved my ages till I was waiting, so I decided to do AI. Not the AI you know, but artificial insemination. And that's when I learned the importance of connections. It's important to find people who can help you with your dream, because when I did it, my OB-GYN wouldn't do it. In those days, single women didn't get pregnant. So luckily, my hairdresser knew somebody who worked at the fertility clinic that got me an appointment. And that's how I ended up being able to have my kids. And they put me through a 1-hour interview to make sure I knew what I was getting myself into. These days, they have books this thick and you just pick people out, It's changed a lot since those days. But it happened and I had twins. Yeah, they're 34 now. Times have changed a little. But how do you split your time between two passions, right? I say you can have it all. This is what I've learned. You just need to be willing to know what your all is. All right? You've got to commit to whatever you're doing at the time and don't worry about what you're not doing. So if you're out on the road, don't worry about what your kids are doing. If I'm in the showroom, I'm not worried about them. When I'm at a debate tournament, I'm not worried about what's going on at work. So you can have it all, but you've got to be present in that moment. Live that moment to the best. Because if all you ever worry about is what you're not doing, the guilt and the being torn in half will just get to you over time. So give yourself grace or give yourself a break for the choices you make and keep moving. You may find that you have to make changes. You might have to wait on your career for your family, or you may have to wait for your family for your career. My dad wanted to make me president, but I had to wait till I was settled with the kids. I'm not going to be a brand new mom and become president of the company. And the boys had their debate tournament, the most important of the year, every year during market. Okay? This year I was honored by the National Association of Electrical Distributors as their trailblazer. The award was made to the woman who has made a difference in the electrical distribution industry. But guess what? There was no Trailblazer Award when I became the woman who decided that the women needed to get together. Sometimes you've just got to take a leap. You just got to go out there and say, this is what I want to do to make you realize your dreams. People always tell me I was courageous. How could I have done the things I've done? I never think about that. I was just not willing to give up on what I wanted to do, and I wasn't willing to give up on the choices I needed to make outside the norm. Your dreams can change over time, professionally and personally. When my kids left home, like Cathy's living through right now, my dreams shifted to helping in the community and in the industry in different involvement. I'm still working on my professional dream, but, you can make a difference. My dad always taught me, if you're going to get involved, then be involved. Make your opinions known. That's why you've been asked to participate in an organization, not just to be a rubber stamp. And I've lived that way all my life. You may not like my opinions, but at least you're going to know what they are. All right. My mom also preached, life is not about how good you look at the end. You want to go out thoroughly used up and say, what a ride. Well, I wouldn't have changed anything. Okay. This is our 115th anniversary party. The one with his arm around the woman is my son who lives in Chicago with his wife, and he's working for us now doing digital. The other one is my son who's an attorney in LA. Go out there and live your dreams and make a difference in the world.
So thank you so much, Laurie. I think all of us would agree. We've always known she was a trailblazer in business, and now we know that she's also a trailblazer as a mother, a business owner, a foundational trailblazer in AI. Who knew? And we're just so thankful that you shared all of that with us today. Our next speaker has worn many hats, and not the kind you find in a lighting showroom. Before launching her career, Maria gained her experience as a waitress, a cashier, and a lifeguard. Jobs that taught her how to think fast, work hard, and handle just about any situation. Maria is here today because she believes in meaningful work and the power of great collaborations, values that shine through in everything that she does on a daily basis. And when it comes to finding joy, Maria swears by the best antidepressant ever invented, dogs. So wag your tails and get ready to drool over the wonderful Maria Mullen as she discusses taking risks.
Thank you, Kelly. So I'm going to talk about a risk that I took in business in my career. I was working at a great place that I loved. I was at a great place in my career. The culture and mission aligned with everything that I believed in. I was growing professionally and personally, and my team was more like a family than coworkers. And we were doing good work. I was happy at work every day. But then management changed, and so did everything that was good about the company. Suddenly it was profits for outside investors and not caring about the people, not keeping their word to employees and customers, and it was something that I could not participate in anymore. So I left. When I left, I needed to figure out what I was going to do next. Almost immediately, I started getting calls from people in the industry, and I was really touched and gratified to be getting calls from companies and people that I respected and admired from across the industry. It also reminded me how connected and supported this industry really is. But something didn't feel right to me. And I kept asking myself, why can't I just take one of these offers? Why can't I do it? But I had been so invested in my previous company that it just felt strange to me. It wasn't that I was loyal to them still. It just wasn't right for me. But I needed to figure out what my next step was going to be. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew it had to be something different. I didn't think that doing the same thing with a different company, no matter how great they were, was going to work for me at that time. So I actually even considered leaving the industry altogether and trying something completely new. Then I decided, let's just take a pause, take time off, and think about it. Just as I took that pause, I got an unexpected phone call. A major retailer in our industry wanted to develop a private label lighting line, and they thought I was the person to do it. It wasn't something that I had ever considered or thought about, but when I did start to think about it, I started to get excited about it and also a little scared. But there was a catch. There's always a catch. And this one was I'd have to set up my own company, which was something I had never done. It wasn't anything that was part of my career path. I would be fully responsible for everything. Most importantly, I would take on all the financial risk. It was definitely not something that I thought about, and I wasn't sure I could do it. There would be no safety net, no employer, no salary, no benefits, no corporate structure. That kind of risk excites some people. It scares some other people. It terrified me. I'd always worked for somebody. I'd always had teams and support, and I just wasn't sure that I could do it. There was also pushback and doubt. There were people, friends of mine, my own personal board, who were saying, this might not be a great idea. In this industry, private label was not all that popular, and people thought that maybe I would lose my reputation or some friendships, and they weren't wrong. I did lose some friendships over it, but I knew I had to try it, and so I did. Anyway, I started a company with a partner. She brought the sweat equity, and I brought everything else, and the two of us worked really, really hard. We didn't have a roadmap or a specific plan. We just thought we would work really hard, and we thought we could build something meaningful. So we dove in. We landed our first client. That retailer signed on with us, and suddenly we weren't just talking about it. We were running a business. We made every single decision. We had to rely on just each other, and we could not blame anyone else or rely on anyone else for our success or our failure. As word got out, we got some other clients. Some came to us, some we pursued. And it was the first time that I wasn't selling a company or a product. I was selling myself and my partner, what our skill and judgment and commitment was. And that was very different for me. People started to take notice, and our company began to take real shape. Our operation was very lean. It was just the two of us doing everything. We made a lot of mistakes, but we course corrected quickly. We focused on two things: excellent design and excellent service. By the end of our first year, we were profitable, and we hadn't taken any loans from anyone else. We hadn't taken any shortcuts, and we hadn't compromised our values. We created a different kind of success for ourselves. We really only wanted to and only worked with people that we liked, trusted, and respected. That was our rule. We didn't borrow money from anybody, and we didn't. We answered to nobody but our customers and ourselves. It wasn't flashy, but it was effective, and it was really satisfying to build our business on our own terms. 7 years later, I was offered an opportunity that I couldn't ignore. I decided to step away from the company. I knew it would go on without me, but it was bittersweet, even though I really wanted to take this other opportunity. It was hard to leave. But everything that I learned there, I took with me. So today, I'm back as the CEO of a domestic manufacturer. It's the hardest and most challenging job I've ever had. It's also the most rewarding job I've ever had. And all of those things that I learned in my role as a business owner helped me every day, that resilience and grit that I got there. What the risk taught me is that it taught me things that no job ever could. Resilience, ownership of mistakes, learning how to make tough decisions under pressure, and also how to course correct very, very quickly. So the long game is, for me, that the risk wasn't reckless. It was really intentional. I couldn't see the full payoff. I couldn't see the whole road in front of me, but it taught me different things that I use today in leadership and leading where I am now with some conviction and sticking to your true values. And I think that that's really, really important. So if you're standing where I once was and you're weighing a risk and a decision, my advice to you is this. First of all, the fear is real, but if it's right, the reward is also very real. And if you have the right reasons for taking the leap, you should do it. Trust yourself and take that leap. So the path I made, it took me off a safe path, but it let me make my own path. And it's been so much more gratifying. And it's given me a strength and a confidence that I take not only in my professional life, but in my personal life. It's really helped me in a lot of ways. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. The good, the bad, and even a lot of the fear was all worth it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. It takes a lot of courage to not only take a leap in your career, but also to stand in front of a room and speak so openly about it. I really appreciate it. I need to thank you all for sharing your stories with us today. Each of you brought honesty, strength, and heart to this room. Your voices moved us and reminded us that behind every role, every resume is a human story that is worth hearing. Thank you.
Second. I think I have. Is this celery? Oh no, that's celery. What fun is this? Oh, it's not celery. Cathy Choi, on behalf of the Women in Lighting, we would like to recognize you for your role as co-chair on the Women in Lighting board and just present you this award with our love and respect and recognition. Dear.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here. The next thing we're going to do, there is a drawing. We had you fill out your name on a little piece of paper. If I could have Laura Van Zel come here and Caitlin come here. We're going to do a little drawing. This is for 2 nights at the Anatole during Lightivation in January of 2026. So maybe a little drum roll.
It feels like the luckiest one.
Rochelle Mueller.
Oh, or is it gas? Yeah.
Congratulations. I'll get in touch with you about how to claim your room.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. And again, that was on behalf of the DMC. Thank you so much for your generosity. All right, everybody. You ready for a little attitude time? All right. So this is the event that 99 of you have signed up for. This was an RSVP event, and unfortunately, if you didn't sign up, we don't have enough materials and resources. But we encourage you to still stick around and spend some time with us. You are going to be making a derby hat, a fascinator, or a fedora with the help of the Kentucky Derby Museum. The ladies are standing right outside. When you leave, you're going to exit out of the stage left, the right side doors right there, and get to see an ALA member, either Carrie or Rael. They will check you off on their little clipboard and then guide you. The Derby Museum ladies will guide you to the to start. Please wear your hats tomorrow for the Derby themed inspired lunch. Can't wait to see all your creations. Thank you so much, everybody.